Hi there. In this video, I'll show you how to configure your model and explain what the different configurations mean. Go to Machine Learning, from Manage, find the model you want to configure, and click Configure on that model. Here you've got 3 windows at the top. Model is for things related to Magic, OpenAI is for things related to OpenAI, and Integrations is for email lead generation, Twilio, and webhooks. Let's start with Model. Type name is your model's name, and this cannot be changed. Initial questionnaire is if you want your chatbot to ask the user questions before letting them start a conversation, for example, to capture leads or getting info about which products they're most interested in. How to set up questionnaires will be in another video. Here you can choose which questionnaire your model should use. Website is if you want to use the auto crawl feature. It'll automatically re-crawl your website for any new pages every 24 hours and automatically vectorize these pages as well. This is not recommended for websites that regularly post blogs, etc., as it might create too much static in the training data, but it can be great for websites that post new content once in a while, so you won't have to do any manual work unless cleaning the data is required. Flavor is a list of predefined system messages. While you can, of course, write your own system message from scratch, I do recommend using these as a template. They contain some sentences required for showing images, for example, and they're great templates you can edit or add more info to. System message is the new prefix. Before we had system messages, we used prefix. Prefix is like an invisible part 1 of every single question asked, which allows you to give ChatGPT rules for how to reply. The user won't see the prefix, however, prefixes need to be kept short, and you can't get too specific. System message is the new prefix. With system message, it's instead an invisible question number 1 of the conversation. The difference is that with system message, you can write long paragraphs and get really specific. Due to this, we recommend using system message instead of prefix. Greeting is your chatbot's initial greeting message. It'll be a chat bubble from the chatbot already there when the user opens the chat window and can be used as a simple greeting or to tell the user something about how to use the chatbot. For example, something like, "Hi, I'm company's AI helper. Ask me about our products or customer-related questions and I'll help you out." Authorization should be completely ignored for chatbots. This is only relevant if you're going to be using the AI expert system internally. If you give your model authorization requirements, only someone logged into the cloudlet with at least this authorization or higher can actually invoke it. This means users on your website cannot invoke it and will get an error message when trying to use it. reCAPTCHA is, of course, reCAPTCHA protection, so your chatbot won't get overrun by bot requests. We recommend staying at the 0.3 value or contacting us if that for any reason doesn't work. For example, if your website doesn't have a secure connection, you might run into issues with reCAPTCHA and should definitely be looking into fixing that. However, if you don't know what the issue is, get in touch with us and we'll help you out. At the bottom, you've got 3 checkboxes. Supervised should be turned on if you want to check the history, for example, to monitor the output or export leads. History is automatically deleted after 2 weeks as to not fill the cloudlet storage with this data. Cached is if you want to use the cache feature. This is when a question only has one single correct reply every single time, and you want it to give a static reply instead of using ChatGPT to word a response. This can be used for things like contact info, for example. I will go into more detail on the cache feature in another video about training data. Lastly, vectors should never be ticked off. This is for the model to use VSS and is how it matches training data with questions. Next is the OpenAI window. OpenAI API key is only relevant if you want this particular model to use a different API key than your other models. This can be relevant in companies that have a single cloudlet for multiple models but need different API keys for the different models, for example, due to bookkeeping, for the different departments, or for white labelers using their client's API key. No requests and max requests can mostly be ignored. If you've got your own cloudlet, you're using your own API key. We're not capping your monthly requests. If for any reason you want to cap the monthly requests for your model, set whatever number you want it to cap at under max requests. No requests will count how many requests you've gotten this month, and the max requests will be reset every month. Note that this is for total requests, not per individual user. Leave the number under max requests at -1 if you don't want requests capped. Temperature is your model's creativity level, implying how big a risk ChatGPT will take when wording a response. Around 0.3 to 0.5 is usually good for chatbots doing customer service, recommending products, etc. If you want your chatbot to do something like generate jokes, you'll probably want to increase this number. However, if your chatbot is a technical support assistant, you might want to decrease it so that ChatGPT won't reword the training data too much and lose important context when helping your users. Do some testing if you're unsure. Threshold is how strict our system is when matching a question with relevant training data. 0 implies absolutely everything is a match, while 1 implies that only exact copies of prompts is a match. You want a middle ground so that only the most relevant training data is matched, but typos are understood, and it can keep a conversation going. Usually around 0.4 to 0.5 is a good place to be. And I've found that in the cases a model struggles with keeping a conversation, I usually increase the number to around 0.53 or 0.54. Do some testing yourself if it seems like the chatbot isn't remembering your conversation. Completion model is which ChatGPT model is being used. The full list here is quite long, but only the GPT models are actually relevant. Scroll down a bit to find these. You've got 3.5 Turbo, the Turbo 16K, which means 16K tokens, aka the 3.5 model, but with more tokens, GPT-4, and of course any new models. We usually write blogs about new API models and do testing, so if you ever want to go in depth, use our own AI search on our website to find a blog about it. For now, we recommend sticking to GPT-4 as it has higher quality on output and is the only GPT model that will reliably reply with images and follow all the system message rules. Vector model should be ignored and can't be changed. If this changes in the future, we'll put out some training material for this as well, but for now, just ignore it. Next, you've got tokens. Tokens is how OpenAI bills you, and one token is around 4 letters when using the Latin alphabet, for example for English. When using special characters, for example for Chinese, Japanese, Arabic, etc. 1 letter or character is 1 token. Max context tokens is the max amount of tokens of the training data that will be sent along with the user's questions to ChatGPT. Basically, the answer in the form on the training data is sent along with the question so that ChatGPT will give the correct information. Max request tokens is max amount of tokens for the user's question, max response is for the chatbot's reply, and max message tokens is for the entire conversation. Note that the conversation won't stop if someone reaches this number. The system will simply keep the first and last question and reply and cut out number 2, 3, 4, etc. This way, your user can continue the conversation. Usually, we recommend 1,500 for context, 250 for request, and 1,500 for response. Of course, you can change these numbers, but keep in mind that if a user's question is longer than max request tokens, they won't get a reply at all, and if the chatbot's reply is longer than max response tokens, then the chatbot's answer will be cut off. Request tokens usually doesn't need to be really high, though, unless you want to use your chatbot to help your users analyze content or something like that. Response tokens should be a high number, but you can limit the chatbot to shorter replies using the system message. Don't limit it by tokens, as it'll simply cut off in the middle of an explanation. Limit it using the system message. Max message tokens can't be changed as the sum of all the tokens add up to OpenAI's own max token count. Message tokens will change when you change the tokens on the other 3. Next is the integrations. First is the lead gen feature. Keep in mind that for the lead gen feature to work, you have to configure SMTP for your cloudlet. Watch our How to Configure Your Cloudlet video to see how to do that, or just head to Misc and Configure. The lead gen feature will stop the chatbot from sending any email address to ChatGPT. It will instead give a static reply and send you an email with the user's chat history and email address. Lead email address is your own or your company's email address. This is the email address that will receive an email with the user's email address and their chat history. If you want it to be sent to multiple emails, separate them with commas, no spaces. Email reply is the static reply that will be sent when the chatbot detects an email address from the user. You might want this reply to say something about how long they should expect to wait for a reply by email. Next is Twilio. Twilio setup is going to be a separate video, but here is where you'd paste the account SID and auth token. Lastly is webhooks. You shouldn't mess with webhooks unless you know what you're doing, but this is how you can configure your chatbot to communicate with, for example, your CRM. We may offer custom solutions in some cases. Get in touch with us and let us know what you want so we can give you a quote. That is all for now. Thanks for watching.